Hello and welcome to The Entrepreneurial Musician, a newsletter, coaching service, podcast, and blog preparing today's musicians for tomorrow's realities. This is TEM293 titled Make Yourself Irreplaceable. Thank you to Parker Mouthpieces for providing the hosting for TEM. Parker Mouthpieces offers fine, customizable component mouthpieces for horn, trombone, euphonium, and tuba, including the Andrew Hitz Artist Model Tuba Mouthpiece. You can find out more at parkermouthpieces.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Please subscribe to the TEM YouTube channel. I've been ramping up the content there, and that is going to continue. You can find the link in the show notes or just search for it on YouTube, which I recently learned is the second largest search engine in the world. Going off script here, which is kind of nuts. Like that's really kind of hard to process. Anyway, TEM293, make yourself irreplaceable. The key to monetizing your work, the key to job security, whether working for someone else or a job that you create for yourself, the key to staying relevant for the long term, the key to all of these things is the same. It's being irreplaceable. I am reminded of Mike Nickens from TEM15, which feels like it was about 15 years ago at this point. Mike is a dear friend. He is the director of the Green Machine at George Mason University, which is a pep band. But to just call it a pep band is not really doing it justice. And I'm not throwing shade on pep bands. It doesn't do it justice because the Green Machine is a pep band which has woven itself into the fabric of the community of George Mason athletics. It has woven itself into the community of Fairfax, Virginia, where George Mason University is located. It is irreplaceable. And you say, how can a pep band be irreplaceable? If you Google any videos by the Green Machine, you will immediately see that this does not look like other pep bands. There are violins, there are oboes. The Mike is wearing like color-coded suits that are obviously tailored for him, look incredible. He wears sunglasses and has a scepter, which he is frequently conducting with. It is something that, in the best way possible, is very hard to describe. When Mike took that job over, he did not take over from someone, and I have no idea who was doing the pep band before Mike. There might not have even been a pep band before Mike. That's before my time in these parts. But if there was, this is not throwing shade at them. I bet that they did a good job of being a pep band director where they found or made good arrangements, where they taught the kids how to play with good style and in tune and in time, and learned the ins and outs of when the band should play, what it should play, etc. None of that is easy, but there's a lot longer list of people that can do that than the list of people who can do what Mike Nickens does, which is one person, and that is Mike Nickens. He has made himself irreplaceable, and he actually had a tenure track position created for him, and he is now tenured. Do you know how hard it is to get a job as an adjunct professor in college and to turn what you do get turned into a tenure track position? That's remarkable. Has it been done before? Yes, but the number of times is very, very, very small. But Mike, they could not imagine life without Mike and without the Green Machine, with him at the front. And by they, I mean the School of Music, I mean the athletic department, I mean the basketball community, I mean the community at large around George Mason. He has made himself irreplaceable. I'm also reminded of my son's piano teacher, whose name is Kimberly Engel, and she's amazing at doing all of the usual stuff, like teaching hand positions and teaching rhythms and teaching chords and all the stuff that you have to teach to be a piano teacher, right? But there are lots of people. In fact, we drive like 25 minutes just about to get to her house, and we drive by a number of piano teachers who I bet At least one or two of those are absolutely excellent. Why was she so highly recommended to us, and why do we drive past all those other piano teachers? It'd be awesome if she was 5 minutes away. It would save me, 40 minutes a week. Do you like that math? It was quick for a tuba player. No, the reason is because there was a recital last year where there was a student who was got so nervous. This was a young student who got so nervous about playing that they refused to go up. This was like a studio recital, which she had at her house, which is even the recital is exactly what I'm looking for as a parent. Is it for everyone? No, nothing is. Very welcoming, very supportive. Formal yet informal, right? Like formal yet not stuffy. I mean, it's a concert, it's a performance, but not like applying tons and tons of pressure to 7, 8, 9, and 10-year-olds. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Some people want pressure, some people want stuffy. Obviously, the word stuffy is a little bit charged, but you know what I mean, right? They're not wrong, and I'm not right. But I am right for me, and I am right for my son because he's he's 8, so he doesn't get to decide yet. When he's an adult, he can decide for the younger people in his life. Bottom line is this: that when it came to that kid in the program, that kid was at the back and was just like refusing to go up, and Miss Engel saw what was going on, communicated non-verbally, just visually with the parents, who kind of gave her the no sign, and that it just probably wasn't going to happen. And she moved right on to the next student. It was absolutely seamless. There was no pressure for the student to get up. She did not acknowledge to the audience that the student was being skipped or ask the student in front of the room whether they were going to perform or not. And that student ended up not playing at all. However, fast forward to the end of said recital, and Miss Engel went out of her way to find another student who was the same age, who she thought was going to click with the student that was too scared to get up, and kind of and got them together afterwards. And she has a game called like Rhythm Wars, which is like a card game where you learn the difference between a triplet and a 16th note. And so these two then started battling each other in Rhythm War. And I saw the student who couldn't get up to perform left that recital with a huge smile on their face, as did the kid who was playing with them, etc. That is a massive win, right? She has like studio hangs where she'll have kids, sit underneath or lay under her grand piano while other students play, and they can kind of feel the vibrations, and it kind of like destigmatizes performing, because she's kind of tricking the kids in a good way into performing for each other, because it's just a studio party, etc. Right? It's not a studio party where everyone must perform a solo, or and they all do because they all choose to. It's next level. That is not something. The way that she navigated that recital with that student who was so scared to get up in front of the room that could have been the end of the line. This kid wasn't even 10 yet. That could have been the end of the line, literally, for music in that student's life. And she navigated it with like understated grace. That is why we drive 25 minutes. Now, is that exact scenario going to unfold for any student? No, but it's that kind of caring and that kind of empathy and that kind of an ability to navigate, difficult and stressful situations for kids. That's what's going to lead to them loving music. That's what's going to lead to them wanting to play the piano more, which is also going to make them better piano players, which, she, again, I'll close her bit with this. She's really good at the piano stuff as well, but then you combine that with the human stuff, and she is irreplaceable to us as our son's piano teacher. I hope she doesn't hear this and triple her rates, but could she be worth it? But don't do that, Miss Engel. Anyway. And then she could reference all of the "you're not charging enough" episodes of TEM. I'm not talking about anybody who charges me. You're all charging plenty. Moving right along. I'm reminded of Gustavo Dudamel, who is a phenomenal musician, but is he like head and shoulders above the musicianship of every other music director in the world? Is he just like flat out better than Simon Rattle? Is he better than Marin Alsop? Is he? No, no, of course not. But you know what? Gustavo Dudamel is irreplaceable. Gustavo Dudamel made the LA Philharmonic, which was not some like, ragtag orchestra before he arrived, but the level of integration with that the LA Philharmonic has experienced since he showed up with the city of Los Angeles and with like the celebrities in Los Angeles and with just like the entire community was had never been achieved before. So it was already a world-class organization. They're about to find out that he's irreplaceable. Now, they may replace him because he's going to the New York Philharmonic with someone else who is irreplaceable in their own way, but you cannot get someone to replace Gustavo Dudamel. And there's a reason why the New York Philharmonic just probably offered to name the city of New York after him to get him there, because he is a difference maker. He makes things happen. He is high visibility in a way that that can't be forced. And if you try and buy that kind of visibility, people see through it right away and feel like they're getting bombarded. He's just a larger than life personality on the podium and off. And, oh, by the way, just like Mike Nickens, just like Kimberly Engel, he's incredible at the actual conducting, right? He's incredible on the podium. He's amazing, but then it's all of the stuff around him that makes him irreplaceable. I'm last example, which is not music, but it is art. If you see my shirt, my Ew David shirt, I'm reminded of the show Schitt's Creek, which if you have not seen that TV show, it again, like Mike Nickens, it's a hard thing to put into words. I watched the pilot of this show, and it was fine. I don't watch tons of TV, and it was my former Pedal Note Media partner Lance Leduc who was like, "Trust me, you need to keep watching." And so I said, okay. And then it was like the very next episode where I was like, oh. And by the end of that show, when I had like 3 episodes left, I genuinely got really sad that my relationship with those characters was about to come to an end. It is an absolutely irreplaceable piece of art. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. And the characters are all relatable, and they're all super simple, and yet they're complex and complicated like real humans. Bottom line is, there's a chance that if you watch that you're going to be like, I do not need to take any more TV recommendations from Andrew Hitz. That show is terrible. And there's also a few people who, when they just heard my voice say Schitt's Creek or saw my shirt, immediately just like kind of like sighed, like, oh, what a wonderful chapter in my life watching that show was. Now, this is the closing point here. Is you cannot be irreplaceable to everyone. Literally no one is, right? Some people who are hiring a pep band director, they just want the normal kind, in air quotes. They don't want someone who is wearing color coordinated with the school colors suits and carrying a scepter and being irreplaceable. They want someone, because they don't want to compensate them very much. They don't want them to be drawing attention away from more important things. If you're not watching on YouTube, I am using air quotes. Now, the reason I'm using air quotes is because, first of all, the other things are not more important than the pep band. And second of all, Mike Nickens and Green Machine are not drawing attention away from anyone. That's like, there's a pie thinking, right? Where it's like, if the bigger their piece, the less pie there is for everyone else, which is ridiculous. Everybody brings their own pie. And so, but some people just want someone who is replaceable. They want a factory worker. That's the whole point of having factories, is that like when that person leaves, then you just plug someone else in, right? And that's what they want for a pep band director. That's what they want for a piano teacher. That's what they want for a music director or for a conductor. But some people are not looking for what you have. You just have to be irreplaceable to some people, and that's it. Because no one goes beyond that. But if you can become, a lot of people are irreplaceable to no one. Those are the people who have trouble gaining traction, and that there's no impact, and then income always follows impact. And so if there's no impact, there's no income. And then they wonder why they are struggling so much, and it's because they are largely replaceable, and that's what we need to work on. Okay, now today's quote is from French fashion icon Coco Chanel, and this is a quote. I thought I'd close with a quote on how to be irreplaceable. Quote: "In order to be irreplaceable, one must always be different." You just have to be different. Can't blend in, which I am always saying is the biggest threat to musicians in 2023. And if you're listening to this in 2025, it's still the biggest threat to musicians, I promise. Wear crazy suits and conduct with a scepter like Mike Nickens. Help kids become the best version of themselves like Kimberly Engel. Galvanize an entire city around an institution like an orchestra, which is not exactly cutting edge, right? Like Dudamel. Just don't just conduct a pep band or teach kids piano the same way everybody else does, or look the part of a normal music director of a major symphony orchestra. Be different, stand out, make yourself irreplaceable. Thank you so much for listening or watching wherever you are getting this. Thank you for leaving a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. Big thank you if you subscribe to this channel on YouTube. Thank you. I'm starting to put up some YouTube shorts and things. Again, I'm going to keep ramping the content up on YouTube. And thank you just for your attention. You're the best. And that's going to do it for another episode of The Entrepreneurial Musician.